Hello everyone! Happy May 31st. So I'm just waiting for the YouTube to go ahead and pop up so I can see that everything is working okay for you guys. Are you guys there? Do you guys see me? Yes! Success! So I see I've got 9 that are here ready and waiting. So hello, happy Sunday. I hope you've had a great day. Up here in Canada, it's been crazy. We had snow May 2nd, almost 100-degree weather on Thursday, and now it's 50 degrees today. It's crazy. If you guys are new to following me, please like the video and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can get the cool live streams like today. Hey Arky! Hey G1! I do sit on a physio ball, so if you see me bounce a little bit, that's why. I just had to reposition this morning. I was renovating, doing some outdoor renovations in our garden, tearing it apart, sledgehammer. My forearms are killing me. So let's go ahead and get into the list for this week, right? So let me go ahead and switch the scene here. G1, where are you coming in from? Arky, you are in Ohio, if I'm correct? I forget. So I've got the SPY up on the chart. We will go over that. I just want to fill this in. See, I've got the short volume right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with you guys so you guys can see where I capture the short volume as well. Thanks, Arky. Yeah, I changed it up. I will add SPCE. Well, let's go ahead and put the Sunday. And at the end, I'll add SPCE. Ah, nice. So that we can go ahead and review that. So we will review Virgin Galactic. San Francisco, I was way off on that, Arky. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the short volume really quickly. So these are on my list. So Williams-Sonoma, 59%. And I'll explain a little bit more when we get to the longs as well. Dell, we had 55%. Short volume on Friday. BMW. 48%. Looks like everybody thought that was going to go up, huh? All right, DG, Dollar General, 36%, and Nutanix, and TNX. All right, and TNX, 34%. All right, so let's go back over here, and we'll clean up last week's. We had a whole bunch on there. I'm going to leave Tupperware and Silica on there because they perform pretty well. We'll just review them. We can look through them really quickly too. So last week I said, hey, let's watch ELF, right? It had a nice week, bounce up, up, up. So there was some profit to be made when it broke above that level. Look at Lowe's. Lowe's was on the list. Nice run up there. Luxury brands, great one to the upside. SPLK, nice up. I think it must not have saved it properly. NHC, nice run up as well last week. Look at that. If you'd gotten in on potentially on Monday, you had a nice $6 move to the upside, and then you could have made money on the downside too. Microsoft I had as a potential short, and sure enough, what happened on Monday? Went from 184 down to 176, $8 to the downside, and then right back up. So again, could have had profits both ways right there. We'll look at it, Charles. We'll look at it for sure. AFG was actually a long. It broke above that level, right, on Monday, and it was pretty much a long. Let's look at ALC as well. So ALC sort of hovered around there, had a hard time really breaking. Let's get rid of these. Let me clean up the chart a little bit for you guys. Holy, that one had moves pretty much a no trade zone all week, right? JD, nice bounce. It broke and it never went really. Actually, that was on my watch list throughout the week. Tailored Brands, that was a longer term swing. I said, hey, let's watch this one. It had a nice move a little bit. It pulled back a little bit. Fossil was a potential long as well. Went sort of really sideways, not too much movement there. Tupperware, nice move up to the $4 range, and now it's pulled back a little bit. Might be good to get back in down here around 324 and then back up potentially. Now, as always, guys, I did have my Series 7 to deal with other people's money about 20 years ago. It is not current. So please trade with your own proper risk management, right? Know that there are varying degrees of risk in all sorts of trading securities instruments, and no past performance is indicative of future performance. All right, and that's it. So let's go ahead and clear the list. And we'll start off, of course, with the SPY, QQQ, and IWM. And we'll also just, I just deleted Microsoft, but we'll throw Microsoft and Apple up there as well, since those are the top two of the SPY and QQQ for the indexes. We'll hide this stuff. Let's clean it up. Okay, so on the list this week, we have, for potential longs, Williams-Sonoma, Dell, VMware, Dollar General, Nutanix, Boot Barn for potential shorts, BRC, DEC, EV, and TJX, sorry. All right, and I have some potential longer term swings here. We'll look at the charts and I'll explain why. And I will add SPCE on there. If there's any other stocks that you guys want me to add on to check them out, just let me know. I'll put them at the bottom and I'll go through once we get to the bottom of the list. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at the SPY. You guys know I've got a lot of stuff on here. I don't know, I keep deleting these and they keep coming back. So let's remove those. All right, so last week we were talking about how we were right over here, right? We were in limbo. We had just closed above, this box of consolidation that we had pretty much for a month, but we couldn't really break above this area right here of the 294. However, we did close above, 295 area right there. We did go ahead and close above this top of this box, 293, 294, but it was still, it looked like it was coming back down a little bit and there was no real direction. It looked like it could have been potentially around the top up here for it to go down, right? And then right away on Monday, we gapped to the upside, right? So bullish above that big box. I've been talking about it for a couple weeks now. I said, hey, look, we're just going through in this consolidation range, and now we are actually above it. So Monday, definitely with the sell-off there, I thought, okay, potentially going to fill off the gap. And then Tuesday, all of the hedges I had, I got out of 50% and closed out that position on Thursday. I said, hey, no, look, we are still in this upward trend. Until we come back down and we really break below this level down here, I am feeling bullish now in the market because we are following these trends up. We are above the 200 simple moving average, this blue line right here. And when we go back and we actually look at our weekly chart as well, which is also going to give you the bigger picture as well. At one point, we did have a hammer on the weekly chart. It looked like a hanging man up here. However, now we touched the 50 simple moving average on the weekly chart, and we are just heading to the upside. We have this big candlestick right here, so we could have potential test up to that 311 area, maybe even 308, this darker line right here. Let me go ahead and we'll change that to be a lighter line. So we could go ahead and we could potentially test that area right here. You can see that that's bottom of this weekly. And we might come on up and test the 311 level. I think those are going to be the two next areas to watch. So 308, 90, 309 area, and then 311 to the upside. We are in an upward channel right now, so we could go all the way up, potentially even peg that 316, and then come back down and even test the bottom of the channel of 291. It is a bigger range. That is the weekly chart. So let's go and look at it on our daily, right? So we do have this yellow trend line here that was set up from this upward trend that happened back in the beginning of April, mid of April. So if we go, we might test that. Again, we've got that 309 area, 311, potentially on up here, 320, and then even on up all the way up. All right, I'm sorry, I do have a bit of a runny nose from being outside all day today working in the garden. And we might come back down, like I said, test even maybe that 289 area before we could go all the way back up. So we are in a bit of a upward channel. So let's look at the Qs, NASDAQ. So we are in a nice big cup right here, right? So we could be seeing the technology sector really pulling up the market with the Qs. I think we might have another upward trend test up here to that 250 level. We could go up there and then even on up further. If, you know, obviously we're in this slow movement up, so I wouldn't say we're still just sort of heading this way. So we could come down, bounce here, then up, bounce here, then up. We might come up and test this trend line again, or we could just go ahead and follow a new one, right? Set it here. We might just follow this trend line right here. Let me set that as I like them as dotted lines. I don't know why when they're trend lines for me. So right here, and then we might get into a battle, but for the most part, as we broke out, we started to see higher than normal volume. We are up at the top here. When we look at our weekly chart as well, we have a bit of a hanging man right there. You can see opened and closed, right? We opened at 233.44 and we closed at 233.36. So this upcoming week is going to be very influential as to what happens with the market. Right now, with the SPY, I'm feeling bullish based on all that consolidation. We are above that consolidation. They would need to bring it back down and test it first. And with as much as the market has been squeezed to the upside, okay, John Doe, I'm going to have to delete that comment, buddy. All right, you're going to be put in a timeout. So we are testing the all-time highs of the Qs. So looking at that, it's not going to take us that much more to go ahead and break out. When we look at the holdings for the Qs, right? We've got Microsoft, we've got Apple. So let's go ahead and check those two. Microsoft is #1 on both of the indexes. Here's our weekly chart. We came down and we hit the 8 EMA right here. And then we came up and we closed above the 4. We did hit a new, almost new high, right? It was not able to, we have not been able to close above 185.67 right here. So that's going to be a big level to go ahead and watch. I'm actually going to go ahead and add an alert there. So I said 185.67. And again, this is the weekly chart. So let's go back and look at our daily chart as well. Jimbo, thank you. You know what? It happens. Being a woman in this industry, you got to have thick skin. But they're lost if they can't be respectful. All right, so here we go. We've got this area right here. You know, we could be setting up for a W. If you guys see that, right? Coming down here, 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 here. So if we test this and we break out, then we could have a nice W move to the upside, right? This is our midline right here. And then we might have that further test, set another alert right up here, 187 to 187.51. 55 actually. We want to see it break out nicely, right? So setting those two alerts, confirmation bullish on the market when, to me, when we do break out above that area right there on Microsoft. And let's look at Apple. Apple is just hovering around right here. It's funny. This actually looks like a bit of a middle finger to me, like a head and shoulders, but more of like a middle finger sitting up right there, right? We've got all these fingers here and then boop, one right there and then right there. Maybe they're doing that to the shorts, right? I don't know, seeing things in charts when you start analyzing them too much. But we are still in the upward motion right here, right? It has not pulled back. We did have a bit, again, of a hanging man on Thursday. However, we pushed back up. So let's check that weekly chart as well. All right, so this area, we had this consolidation back in February, right? That was right before the market went down, and we're in that area again. So really want to see that breakout again, all-time highs for Apple. If we're able to see it head back up there, you know, I would give it down to the 300 range and test that. It might come back down to 300 and bounce, just like we saw on the Microsoft chart. It came down, they tested that 8 EMA right here, and then it bounced on up from there. All right, so looking at those, you know, when we look at Apple, we look at Amazon as well. On the weekly, we have broken up above, we have held above that former high area, and it's a bit erratic up here, but we do have higher volume on the days that it was dropping down. So it could be pushing the Qs even higher. All right, let's go back to our list for Sunday, and we'll look at the Russell as well. So the Russell tends to be the weakest of all of them, right? Because Qs were almost testing new highs. SPY, we're back a little bit. And right here, we haven't even tested the top of this bounce. We did come up and test up here at the 145 almost level and then pulled back, but we're still in that upward motion. And until we really have that confirmation of the curl down, we had it back here, but we touched the 50 simple moving average and curled up, right? So for now, it is bullish to me on the market. Another reason why, when I was doing my live filming on Friday for Ticker Talker TV, let's go to the 30-second chart, you can actually see where there was major buying volume that came in right around 12:45, right here, right when we touched down to, oops, let's stretch it out a little bit. You guys can see that right here. This big volume came in right while I was doing my recording, and it also came in on the Qs, Microsoft, and Apple, all at the same time, all right there, right at 12, whatever the minute that was, 12:54 on Friday. The volume came in, and I was saying buying volume simply because we are above it right now. Well, Greg, I'm sure that they're going to figure out a way. You know, Greg, if you guys have been following me, I pay more attention to the volume and the dark pool prints rather than the news. The news can say whatever it wants. The big guys that manipulate this market are going to go ahead and take it wherever they want to take it, right? So I look at it that way. If these guys want to go ahead and tank the market, they're going to lay their position and drop the market. For now, we're above a lot of the areas, right? So let's go ahead and get into potential longs and shorts for this week. I'm just going to drag this up here, and then we'll zoom in a little bit more. Let's just go here one day. I'll go 15 minutes. It'll adjust it. All right, I will check those out. Everything's monetizable. All right, so for Williams-Sonoma, we had earnings. The market liked the earnings, came up. We had 82 as a high, then it flipped to be support. So I'm going to put that to be our support level, and 85.80 as, oops, 85.80 as our resistance. It does have 76 million in the float, and remember, it was 59% short volume, right? So 59, I don't know why it doesn't want to do percentage properly there. All right, so when we look back on the year as well, we have set a new high for the year, higher than normal volume. Let's check it out. We do have another test up here for the 88 area. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert on that. These computers, you guys always have to remember, are looking technically at the charts. They're going to look back. Hey, look, here is our high back here. All right, even if we did this, we've got this right here, and we had a trend line, right? And on the daily chart, how is the volume, right? We broke above that volume for that trend. Higher than normal volume. We had a trend breakout. It is fairly flat. So we've got two things going for this trade, potentially to the long side. We've got the trend breakout with high volume and earnings winner. So looking at it, we could potentially test that high and see new highs as well for the market for Williams and Sonoma. All right, Dell. Same scenario, had nice earnings, went ahead, gapped up, right? And it looks like it's gone ahead and held that volume to the upside, right? Okay, so here we are, $50 as our upward target to break out above, and 48 to the downside. We'll go ahead and lift that up just a little bit. So our 1 year chart here. So you can see back here in the past that 48 level has held as support. Next potential test, I would say up to that 51. If we can break 51, 52.50, and on up to 53.50. All right, support of 48 and 50. Let's go to VMW. All right, who was it talking about VMW up there? Charles P. This one's for you. All right, Charles. So earnings, yes, many times it looks like it has gapped down or had negative response on earnings. But for this part, we do have a gap up. So this one did have a spike up. And then let's go back and look at that history. Yep, had earnings, big gap up, and then pulled back and continued the upward trend, right? Oops, excuse me. Let me go up here, shrink that. What did I do, guys? Let me just go back here. There we go. Awesome. All right, so we are above all the moving averages right now, right? We've gone ahead, we broke the 50, we broke the 200, and we're above all these averages. So really, it's just going to be resistance on the chart that we're looking for, so that 163 area, and then on up to 170, 173.50. So let's break it down a little bit further for watching for potential breakout from here. So 157.50 to the upside for our resistance, and 151 for support. All right. And you can see we've just sort of had that sideways action. Let's even look at it on a weekly chart and see right here. So it looks like it had a bit of a head and shoulders, and then it went down. However, it found support at 86. Some more volume came in, and now since we're looking back here, since the sell-off right there, we have higher than normal volume, and it looks like we are hitting that 90 simple moving average on the weekly chart. And just for fun, let's go and look at that monthly chart. All right, monthly chart, we are just above the 20 simple moving average. We are above the 20 simple moving average as well on the SPY. Just wanted to bring that to your attention too. So it looks to me like VMware might be breaking that trend, Charles. We shall see what happens in the next week. That's the beauty of the market. But being prepared either way is going to be awesome. All right. So DG, Dollar General, another earnings winner this week. We had a nice end to the week with that upward trend, that squeeze the end of day with Trump's announcements. So we couldn't hold below this level. There was buying power that came into it. So I'd like to put it 188.50 as our support, and 192, we're going to move it up a little bit more, 192.80 for resistance. And we'll look back on our yearly chart. And we are hitting all-time highs for the year. Let's look back 5 years. Yep, all-time highs for Dollar General right now. So this one has clear skies ahead. Yeah, I'm going to get to it once I get through my lists, G1. I've got my list that I go through, and then I will happily do it for you. All right, so let's go to Nutanix. All right, so Nutanix had earnings last year. This was a very hot stock last year. I think it tripled in value last year. So Nutanix, we had nice volume that came into it, and it's breaking up. I would look for 22.80 for support, and resistance of 24.20. So let's look at it on the yearly chart. You can see we've got this nice potential gap. If we're able to go ahead and really break this 25.60, I'm going to go ahead and set an alert right there too. If we're able to go ahead and break this 25.60, we could go ahead and test on up here at that 30.11 area, the bottom of this candlestick here, or even fill the gap all the way up to 32. So it might have a nice $7 move once we break that area, but there will probably be resistance right here. We've got the moving average, we have the 200 simple moving average, but definitely one to put on watch. More for, you could definitely do it as a swing trade too potentially, but also as day trades up into that swing trade. We are in this upward trend right now. It does have the waves where it pulls back to the averages, right? So maybe it'll pull back here and then bounce again onto the upside. So we will check it out. All right, let's go to Boot for potential shorts, right? So Boot had earnings. Let's remove the drawings. I'm going to go ahead and put our resistance right here. So you can see, hey, it acts as resistance, 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 resistance. So 22.30 to the upside for our resistance, and for support, right on down here, at the bottom right there. So 21.40 for our support level for Boot. And it does have 28 million in the float, so that's why it can have these nicer ranges throughout the day. You know, it was up at 25 and then came all the way down to 21. So $5 in 2 days for or $4 in 2 days, or a 20% move, right? And when we look back on the yearly chart, it came up, it hit the simple moving average, and it pulled back. We're starting to go below the moving averages. If we do go ahead and break the 20 simple moving average, we'll likely have a test on down to that 50 simple moving average. All right, BRC, same scenario, had earnings, ran up. We have this gap to fill to the downside, down to 49 right here. We are just at the 200 simple moving average, and that could be propping it up right now. So the 200 simple moving average is actually above us at 51.19, and we closed at 51.13. So let's break it down on the 15-minute chart. So we'll go ahead and put our resistance right there, 51.60, and our support down here, I would even put it 50. Oop, need to change the color on this one. So 51.58 and 50.60. 51.60 and 50. 50.60 for support and 51.60 for resistance. All right, and you guys can see you've got that nice potential gap fill down here, down to that 49. Might get a little bit of a resistance, you know, support speed bump right here at the 49.60 area, on down to the 49. Yes, the SPY is. Okay, Archie, I'll add that onto DKNG. All right, so let's go on down the list. Next up is DEC. All right, look at how we had this nice run up right here. Let's just pull these up here. Again, it's starting, it seems like it hit a resistance up there, had earnings, ran up into earnings, and now it's pulling back. So would look for a breakdown further. I'm going to put it at 181, and for that move to the upside, give it some space, 186.50. So 181 and 186.50. All right, so you guys can see, again, it had that nice run up. However, it's moving back. If we break this high volume doji below it down here, we could fill all the way down to that 167. So we could have a nice $15 point move to the downtime. I'll look at it. All right, next up is EV, Eaton Vance. Crazy volume there, right? So keeping that on watch based on the crazy volume. And it was in the downward motion, so potential downward move. I like this area right here because in the past, again, couldn't break above for a while. So once it broke here, went on up to the races, up, and now it could be coming back down. So 35.50 for support and 36.75 for resistance. Now again, we'll pull back on this chart. So you can see, came up, hit the moving average, pulled back, right? So let's look at TJX. All right, so we had earnings, nice run up into earnings, hit the 200 simple moving average, couldn't break above, and pulled back down. So I would like to look for our resistance at 53.20, and our support right here, 52.50. I'll add it, Al Gary. All right, 52.50 and 53.22. All right, so now we'll look at on the yearly chart again, and then I'll go into my 3 potential swing trades that I would put on watch right here, and then we'll get into the stocks you guys have. All right. So you can see this could have another move and gap fill here down to 50.99, and then below this one another gap fill down to 47. So this could have 2 nice moves down to that 47.50 range right there. All right, let's look at Cron. So the cannabis sector, everyone's talking about cannabis. Some people are saying, hey, this can even go ahead and cure coronavirus. Cannabis can cure coronavirus. So we've started to see this higher volume come in. We're starting to break above these moving averages. And when we go ahead and we draw, oops, I don't want that. I want to have a trend line. So when we go forward and we draw our trend line, you can see we broke it right here. And we've been going to the upside ever since, right? So we are just starting to curl down a little bit. To me, this is a lower risk trade right here because we are at the moving averages. If we're able to go ahead and hold above 617, that could be support. We do have our 50 simple moving average down here at 584. Potentially give it that 30-cent range to the downside. Or, you know, once we break 754, we could see that this is going to go ahead and continue on up. I don't even know what happened to earnings, but it seems like the market liked it. Surprise, extra 25%. So have that one as a potential, in my opinion. So put that support right there and potential resistance right on up here. And getting into it for potential longer term swing, I'd keep that level as my stop. I'm just gonna have to get a tissue, sorry. All right, so safe hold. Again, a nice little trend right here, right? And we're starting to break above it. The volume is there. Had earnings, pulled back a little bit, and now we're coming back in that upward motion. So I'd want to see it hold again, this 50 simple moving average. Every day that it came above it, it tested and it continued to hold above it. So potential entry would be optimal, potentially down there around 52.50. Oops. I hear someone messaging on my, let me turn off the sound on my phone. All right, and then, you know, you might hit 58 to the upside, 59, and then come on up. But we have broken that trend right there. And last one is Pinterest right here. So Pinterest, you guys can see we are breaking above. And we do have this 50 simple moving average right down here. So this is nice. We've had higher than normal volume right here, and we are in that upward motion. We do have this 200 simple moving average as well as the resistance point right here. So we could go ahead, might pull back a little bit, maybe 1930, but we do have all of these moving averages as support down here. So you could even potentially go tighter, stop right there around that 1860 area to the downside for Pinterest. And remember, this one did go up to 36. Another form of advertising in that social media world where they're taking a lot more revenue, more of an untapped revenue stream of advertising for online retailers. All right, let's go to SPCE. All right, so we had this trend line, we broke it to the downside. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that trend, right? Let's draw a couple, see what we have going on. So if we're able to go ahead and break out here with higher volume this week, great. It looks like we might be testing this 1820 area and then on up to 1880. If it breaks down, you know, looking for it to break down below the 50 simple moving average at 1631 and break down right here. But we've got a bit of a triangle that's setting up right now, G1. So looking at it for that reason, it would also need to go ahead and really close above this area 1770 for me to be more bullish on it, because we had higher than normal volume on that day right there. See that? Okay, and let's go to DFEN. We'll bang through these. DFEN. All right, so we have a doji right here. It's looking bearish to me. We might have a test back down here to the 1214 area, and then it might bounce to the upside. But right now, looks like the momentum is going like this to me. We came up here, we tested it, couldn't keep above, came down. All right, buyers and sellers indecision day. However, we are below this higher than normal volume candle at the top. All right, my pleasure, G1. All right, and PKG, Packaging Corp. This one is holding above the 200 simple moving average, higher than normal volume. However, we were not, it had buying wicks these 2 days, and it was not able to go. I would like to see it break out more to the upside above 102.50 before it goes ahead. We might have a bit of a reversal doji right here, so would look for potential green day. That didn't work very well to do a candlestick right here. Green day right there. If it's not a green day, it could be moving down, but it looks like it could be a potential setup for a green day. I should do it like this. Might be better if I went like this. Like that. To the upside right there. All right. And big lots. So big lots, it's having a hard time holding that high, had earnings. What were the earnings results? Better than expected. However, it did sell off. Let's go and look at it on a 45-minute chart right here. So we are holding this 50 simple moving average on the 45-minute chart. And let's go back and look at how it tends to respect that. So it does tend to respect that 50 simple moving average. So given the fact that it had higher earnings, potentially when we see that this volume came in right here just below at this moving average, and it's held that 50 simple moving average all the way to the upside, potential bullish move to me above 39.40 right here. And then actually I'm going to move it on up to the 40 right here, 39.8077, because it wasn't able to go close above it, right? Every time that it came above it, it sold off. So sell off, sell off, sell off, sell off, sell off, came up again, sell off. So it would need to really break that to the upside for me. And then potential bearish move below 36.60. All right, ODP, Office Depot, right? Yeah, I have lines on this one, makes it easy. So it's curling over at the moment on the 45-minute chart. And we'll look at it on the daily as well, right? So we've got this support area back here, 240, 252. When we look at it on our daily chart, let me move this out of the way. Again, it touched 260, and it's been using, it looks like this pink dotted line as a resistance. However, we flipped above it, and now that's potentially support. So would like to see it hold above that 241, 240 area and break on up. It could have been that it surged up, it was far away from the moving averages, pulled back, consolidated, and now you can see we have a bit more volume, and it could continue on up, potentially to test above that 258 area. Last one there for everything's monetizable, CCJ. So this has a bit of a cup and handle to me, right? If we go down here, actually that was right up there at the rim line, right? So we've got this depth here. If it breaks out, boom, we could be seeing nice move to the upside. Let's go ahead and look at a 5-year chart, see what's going on too. So could have that potential move on up to that 1375 to test that area. Last time it tested it was back here, and it was also hitting the 200 simple moving average, which we are above the 200 simple moving average on the weekly chart as well. So that's a nice one. I like that. I'm going to actually write that down, CCJ, put that one on watch. However, something also to note right here is the declining volume, right? Even though we're climbing, we have that declining volume. Whereas here we had increasing volume and it ran up. Hit the earnings, pulled back a bit, but the volume hasn't really picked up as it's been moving up. So I'll watch it. Put it on watch for sure. And the last one, we've got DKNG. Oops, DKNG. Let's go. 15 minutes right. DraftKings. This looks like it was a buyout or something the way it stopped right there. And let's look at our daily chart too. All right, so this DraftKings right now, we've got all these white candlesticks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up days, potential pullback based on that. So because we've had so many up days, just in general, it will have that downward trend. But we do have this higher than normal volume candlestick right here, and we close just above it. So that's looking bullish overall. However, we might have a bit more of a pullback, like I said, to the simple moving average, or this moving average right here, right around that 3650 area, and then more move to the upside for DKNG. All right. I know I'm missing something. BABA and AMD. All right, so BABA. Let's look at BABA. So BABA had a nice bullish engulfing right here. Look at how many candlesticks we took out. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a nice gap to the upside, gap to fill right here. Nice one, Al-Hajori. I hope I said that okay. So we could come and test 209.40, right? It could come and test right here, or it could go and test up even further, 211, or even up to the 212, which we saw in the past right here to really act as resistance. But we had this area of trading, and we have a gap to definitely fill. So that's cool. Thank you, Al-Hajori. And AMD as well. AMD looks like we've got, it's bounced off of this 90 simple moving average, is gray line, and we're above the 50 right now. So we do have a bit of a bullish movement. It's starting to curl for the moving averages. Right off the bat, let's actually look at it on a weekly. You might be able to see it even better. You can see that it's just sort of, to me, traded in this range for a while, right? So it's going up, and then it's coming down, and then it's going up, and then it came down, and it went ahead, and we're sort of in that limbo zone right there. It happens to be an $8 range, but it's somewhat trading sideways in that $8 range when I look at it. So you can see on that daily chart, right, it's doing that same thing, much like the SPY was, up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down. So it might be better to watch this one potentially, and then once you have that higher than normal volume, we did have that higher volume right here where it was just at the bottom. People shorts might have been getting in thinking, aha, it's finally broken, and they were squeezing them, or it could be buying power that came into it as well. So if it's buying power, would definitely look for that break above that 58, and if it was selling, would want to see more of a breakdown down here, bigger picture for AMD. All right. Okay, guys, if there's no other questions for today, then I will go ahead and wrap it up. If you guys are newer to trading, newer to my channel, I do have a Learn to Trade series as well. So I will go ahead and put that in right here up above if you guys want to check that out. If you guys ever have any questions, you can always email me at jane@cjanetrade.com. And if you guys want to learn more about trading around the dark pool, come over and check us out at the Training Pit. It's a great community there, lots of helpful traders, all looking to go ahead and help others prosper in the market, right? It's us against the market. It's not really us against each other. So the more that we help each other, the more that we all improve our trading, the more profitable we can all be all together. All right. Oh, G1, I do this every Sunday. I do a live stream like this, and I also do it 12:45 on Mondays and Fridays for Ticker Talker TV. All right, so have a great week ahead. Carpe Profit, seize those profits one trade